It is August 12th, 2015. This video is to serve as a user training for Juan F. Lewis Hospital NOVEC 1230 fire protection in the X-ray room and in the CT scan room. We have two systems that are programmed identically for function and timing. They have a history. They save that history internally. Each system has its own tank. The panel on the right functions the tank on the right. The panel on the left functions the tank on the left. Each tank is the same size. It's filled with 116 pounds of NOVEC 1230 fluid. There is one reserve tank stored out on the back loading dock near the oxygen tanks and some of the other med gas. That is also tagged as inspected August 2015. This system is considered new because it was just commissioned. This system is considered inspected because I looked over the system, I checked out function, and did everything that would normally be done on a system inspection. We have horn strobes throughout the spaces. Inside the spaces, there are bells and horn strobes. The manual release station discharges the gas as a manual pull with a fire alarm system would operate a fire alarm system. The abort is for function when the system is activated due to smoke detection. There are two smoke detectors in the room. Each of them is a separate zone. When both smoke detectors sense smoke, the system goes into alarm and begins a 60-second countdown timer. After that 60-second timer has elapsed, the agent discharges into the room. If during smoke detection alarm we want to delay that discharge, we pull this cover, we push and hold the yellow button. If you hear the panel beep, that's because it knows something is going on, but it has no need for that button at the moment. Hold the button in. Help will be on the way because alarms are going off, and we can begin to mitigate the problem. If there is a fire and we need fire protection, close the doors, allow the system to discharge, be out of the room when it discharges, call the fire department, and react from there. We have actuators. These are what electrically actuate the tanks. They're mounted on top of the tanks. The lockout switches, there are two, physically disable the actuator so that the agent cannot discharge. When we throw the lockout switch to locked mode, we get a trouble on output 3, which is the circuit that fires this actuator. That trouble is stored in the memory, in the history, so that we can tell when the system was locked out and when it was not. The panel also beeps when it is in lockout mode. We'll get to more of that in a moment. There are pressure switches installed above each tank. Their use is an output alarm relay. There are no functions hooked up to these. If a shutdown or a monitoring function is required at a later time, we have these switches available. There is a low pressure switch here that monitors tank pressure and will cause a supervisory on the panel if that low pressure occurs. Let's open the panel. We have 4 white buttons: buzzer silence and buzzer silence. They shut the panel up. Alarm silence. Alarm silence stops the alarms. It does not stop the discharge, but it stops the noise. It silences. Reset repulls the whole panel and puts it back to normal unless there are still alarms, such as smoke detection, manual release being activated, something else. If the problem is still there, the reset will not correct it. This panel is physically the same panel. The zones do the same things. Each panel has two 12 amp volt, 7 amp hour batteries. Those batteries will run these systems on their own with a battery backup supply for at least 24 hours, and after that 24 hours they will work for at least 15 minutes in alarm mode. When the tanks discharge, the entire tank empties. You cannot stop it, you cannot slow it down. The whole tank will be empty in 10 seconds and the gas will be in the room. When the gas discharges in the room, it does create a visual obscuration. It's a heavy, soupy gas. It's clear, but things get a little bit distorted. It is safe for humans. It is environmentally friendly. It photodegrades in the atmosphere in 3 days. If there is a fire in this room, the signage tells you to get out of the room. That is not so much because of the gas that we're going to discharge. It discharges as a liquid and it becomes a gas. That is not the problem. The problem is the chemicals that we get when something burns. We have particles of combustion, we have smoke, we have all these other problems that can cause an inhalation risk. When the system goes off, that means there was a problem. And when our agent interacts with that fire, it can also create some unfriendly, unwanted chemicals. Those are the things that we want to keep humans away from. As we're in this side, we have a manual release station here, and outside this door there is another horn strobe. When you hit the manual release station, it overrides any smoke detection function. The manual release in this instance has a 30-second countdown timer associated with it. So once we hit that, put that back on, 30 seconds later the agent will discharge. That gives us time to close any doors. It gives us time to help patients out of the room. It gives us time to react and let the system have an environment to do its job. Doors do need to be closed. These are very heavy doors. They've been having issue with this door warping the frame because of its weight. A closer really is a poor choice for this door. It will just add more stresses. So part of the procedure for everyone working needs to be close the door if the system is going off. That is why we have that timing function, to give somebody a chance to make sure that this room is in the state that it needs to be in. We'll look at the system in the X-ray room if nobody's in there. Is anyone in there? Same system, same devices. Smoke detectors in the ceiling, bell and horn strobe, signage and manual release station. There's only one door here. It does have a closer. The timing functions are the same. 60 seconds after the second detector senses smoke, or 30 seconds after a manual release is activated. If anyone has questions, we do have a Florida office. We have a 24-hour 1-800 number. My name is Nick Lisinski. I helped install these systems. I helped inspect these systems. My number is on the card. In the panel. Feel free to call me direct, and I will facilitate what I can. If I have to get you to other people, other trades, or other departments, understand I may need to transfer you, but call me if there are questions. Allow me to help in whatever way I'm able. Thank you for watching. This has been the Juan F. Lewis Hospital user training and system function video. A reference, if you're speaking with someone at Vanguard Fire, the job number for this specific job is CHE140. That may help someone at Vanguard reference this if something needs to be looked up.